What's up, everybody? Hope you are all doing well. This is going to be our first rhythmic analysis on stolen moments. We have a few things we have to understand before diving into this. In today's lesson, by the end of the lesson, I'm going to show you how to dissect the introduction here, and then the melody, the first four measures of each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're only going to be dealing with these 8 measures total today. The four bars of the introduction, and then the first 4 measures of the melody. Okay. A few prerequisites or just prior knowledge that we need to learn as well as review. Today we're going to be learning 16th notes and how 16th note works against the quarter note or against the beat. Just to back up and review, here are eighth notes. As you can see, we have the quarter note here. And if I tap just quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are worth one beat each. And if I break that up into half notes, I'm breaking each quarter note now into halves. Okay, so for every quarter note there are 2 eighth notes. So that creates a downbeat and an upbeat. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So excuse me, 1 and 2. Ugh. I should go with trying to hold the phone and do this. I'm very uncoordinated. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it would sound like this against the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. So to do that again, 1, just the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. So if you were to clap it out, it would sound, I'm going to use my pen to tap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or if I were to maintain just a quarter note count and tap eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, what we're going to learn today that's new are 16th notes. And if these are eighth notes and they each get half a beat. If we can do the math here, 16th notes would the eighth notes get half a beat each. So each one of these gets half of a beat. Okay, and if we move to 16th notes, you can do the math. Just keep dividing. The 16th notes get a quarter of a beat each. So go back to the quarter notes really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're now dividing each one of these. Instead of dividing them in 2, you're dividing them into 4s. So it would sound like this. We will use this phrasing to enunciate them. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So for every 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We say 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay? I'm gonna allow you to try that a few times. Ready? Go. Try it again. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Notice how the count comes on the first one because that's where the downbeat starts. Okay? This and is here because it's the halfway point. It's the and, the full upbeat. So the E is halfway between the downbeat and the upbeat. So it's kind of like this were the upbeat. This is the downbeat. It would be like right here. So 1 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and Okay? Now, sometimes you'll see rhythms like this where you have an eighth note combined together with 2/16 notes. So this would be one and and that E is taken up by this first downbeat. So 1 and 2 and notice how I'm silent on the E. 1 E and 2, 1 and 2 and 3. Let me write this out real quick. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, and we're going to need this because we're going to be, when you get to the melody, you're going to tackle this particular figure. Okay, so just to review one more time, eighth notes: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16th notes: 1 E and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and or if you want to say it with the break it up into fours for every one, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But we say 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and okay, and then down here, 1 2 3 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. So moving on, we are going to start our analysis of stolen moments. Okay. I know as I know some people don't have printers. I have taken the liberty of writing it out. As you can see, there are no staves, so I just wrote out the rhythm as I saw it there. Do not worry about the pitches for right now. We're just getting the rhythm. As you can see, I wrote the same rhythm out that is over here. Okay, you are to rewrite that if you do not have a printer. Make sure you rewrite it correctly as you see it on the paper. Okay. Again, this can be found with the in the assignment description. Please look in the assignment description to access this page. Okay. Now, I am going to do the first measure here, and then I'm going to go through these two measures here. I am not going to do the rest of the assignment for you. You are to complete all 8 measures on your own. So I will begin with this measure. Now, first in this measure, we have right here in the beginning, obviously we're in 4/4. We have an eighth rest that's right on the downbeat, so we mark that as 1. And then we have a a dotted quarter, and that comes in. This is already takes up the downbeat of 1. This takes up the downbeat of 1. So this comes in on the end of 1, holds through the full count of 2. And as you can see, this arc here, remember what that arc is a tie. It joins the values of 2 notes together. So this is a half note. It comes in on 3 and 4. So you have the dotted quarter, which is worth 1.5. As you can see, it comes in on the end of 1 and holds through 2. That's 1.5 beats. Then you have a half note, which comes in on 3 and holds all the way through the count of 4. Okay, so total, you're looking at 1.5 plus 2 is 3.5. Okay, so this combined note value would be 3.5 beats. Okay, see how I did that? Downbeat of 1 for half a beat. This comes in on the upbeat of 1, holds through full count of 2, and this half note comes in on 3 and holds all the way through 4. It is tied for 3.5 beats. You can do the math yourself on that. Okay, now if you look at it, what's the pattern in the introduction? Excuse me. What's the rhythmic pattern that you keep seeing in the introduction? Okay, moving on. Here's the first measure of the melody. As you can see, we have another eighth rest. That's on 1. We have a single eighth note after that. That's on the and of 1. Then we have 2 eighth notes after that. 2 and. Make sure you go in order. Now, you have this eighth rest on 3. Now, we've come to a quarter note, which is going to land. Sometimes quarter notes are offset by half beats. And this one comes in on the end of 3 and holds through the downbeat of 4, leaving this last single eighth note on the and. Okay? See how I did that? Downbeat of 1, that's an eighth rest, followed by a single eighth note on the end of 2, followed by 2 eighth notes consecutive on, excuse me, let me back up. I don't want to confuse you, so let's start again. This is an eighth rest on the downbeat of 1. This is a single eighth note on the upbeat of 1, followed by 2 consecutive eighth notes on beat 2, and then the end of 2, followed by an eighth rest on the downbeat of 3, followed by a quarter note on the upbeat of 3, and holding through the downbeat of 4, and then a single eighth note on the upbeat of 4. Okay, now we've come to this measure, which is where we learned our new, which we're dealing with the 16th notes. Okay. First in the measure is an eighth note, downbeat of 1, followed by another eighth note, which is tied on the upbeat of 1, is tied to another eighth note, which is on the downbeat of 2. And then you come to 2 eighth notes on the back end. Remember, on the back end, the last 2 figures are and . So I'm going to write in and like so. This next one comes in on the downbeat of 3. That's the eighth note. And then this next one is also an eighth note on the upbeat of 3. And that's tied to a quarter note. Okay? So you have 1.5 beats here. You have 1 beat here because half and half is 1 on the upbeat. So just to review this one now. Downbeat of 1, an eighth note on the downbeat of 1, an eighth note on the upbeat of 1, tied to another eighth note on the downbeat of 2. You have 2 16th notes that start on the and of 2 and the of 2. And then you have a downbeat of 3, an eighth note on the downbeat of 3, and then an eighth note on the upbeat of 3, tied to a quarter note on the downbeat of 4 for the full count of 4. So now that we have our count in, we can tap it out. We can start practicing. Make sure you're clapping aloud. 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm gonna start up here at the intro. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 again. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. See how that holds through? Because these are tied. Remember, these are tied. All right. Next, I'm going to I'm going to tap out the melody for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and, oh, sorry, I didn't count an eighth notes. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. Now I'm gonna go to this one. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 2 and let me do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1 and 1 and a 3 and 4, 1 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 1 and a 3 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and. So I'll do them together. 1. 1 and 2 and 1 and a 3 and. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and a 3 and. Okay. I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and a 3 and. 1 and 2 and a 3 and. Okay. Make sure you're clapping this out and you're counting aloud at the same time. And once you have done these, please complete these. This has been your lesson for the first 4 measures of the intro for Stolen Moments, as well as the first 4 measures of the melody.